Yo, what's going on, Herd? This is Jeff at GeekDriven, and we're here for another episode of Movie and Shows where we're going to go ahead and review episode 5, Time and Again for Ms. Marvel. So this is the penultimate episode, and I'm so excited to talk about it. I've been loving this series. I hope we get a season 2. Good Lord, please. But before we get started, let's go around and say hello to our panel. Candace, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing awesome.
So excited to talk about this episode.
Ditto. I can't wait. Haley, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I like Candace, and I'm sure both of you so pumped to chat Miss Marvel. I watched it as soon as I got off of work and was just soaking it all in.
And we finally have a full panel.
Oh
yes. This is the first.
Yes.
So excited.
Only took 5 episodes, but
That's it? It's all right. It's the last 2 episodes. We got to be here.
The ones that count.
How about you, Alonzo?
Oh my God, I'm doing fantastic. To echo Haley and Candace's remark, yes, we're all here finally. And congratulations to Haley for being part of Nearing Nirvana. You're one of the comic book women.
Yeah, girl.
I know, right?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Nearing Nirvana, those women are unbelievable, and
they really are.
Definitely so excited for you to be part of their team.
Thank you.
Awesome. So
I am so pumped. Thanks.
I saw that and I was like, no way.
When they asked me to join, I was like, this is a dream come true. You have no idea.
I can't wait.
Yep, I can't wait to keep seeing you on their show and doing what you do, man. It's gonna be fantastic.
Thanks. Oh, I appreciate that a lot.
All right. Well, before we get started on the review, let's give a shout out to a couple of important people. So we have our wrenches, our 4 horsemen, our moderators. We've got Uncle Rudy, we got Something Wong, we got Deanime Exetera, and we got Glenn 2K12 from across the pond. Thank you, fellas. Really appreciate it. And then we also want to give a shout out to our resident DJ at Beats by Monster. Thank you, Eddie, and we'll see you in a few weeks. All
that
right.
Is true. We might even see him this Saturday, right?
Is he coming this Saturday? I don't know.
He might. If Steve's coming, Eddie's probably going to come.
I don't even know if Steve's coming.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll have that to talk about the end of the show anyways. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our chat, which is just GT Key Comic. Thank you, GT Key. I really appreciate you tuning in. All right.
We have more viewers. Come on, guys.
They're shy. It's okay. I think they're just as excited to get us going on that review. So what did you guys think of the episode? Let's just start with that.
Oh my God. I have to even think for a second of just how to put it all into words, because I think just the whole time I was just glued, because I was trying to get a little bit of work done, multitask, and I was like, I can't even focus on this right now. It's just I found a broken record, but I really literally mean that every single episode is just building and building, and so many big things happened that I'm just really excited to talk to you guys about. So, oh my God, I'm so sad. There's only 1 episode left.
I know.
Like,
Oh my god.
a lot's
And
gonna
this-
have to happen.
And
That,
this
like,
was a
stresses
short
me
episode
out.
too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
was it? Did it? Okay, was it like actually like in length shorter than all the other episodes, or did it just feel that way?
It might have been a little bit of both. I think it was
Mhm.
38 minutes
Oh.
for the actual
Yeah.
show time, minus the credits. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Because
might have been one of the shortest.
I thought it was in my head because like it
No.
ended and I was like, I feel like I had just started watching it. I'm
Yes.
so confused.
It just started getting really good.
I was like, wait,
Yep.
what? And then I like checked the thing and it was like, okay, well maybe we'll get an after credit scene, which we did not. But
I
like,
know, I was hoping for that too. And it had a cliffhanger, but then it was kind of abrupt at the same time, I thought. So I really thought like more was gonna happen. And I'm like, oh, just
I think
kidding.
it was
Next week.
Bad edit, bad cut.
Yeah. Even Sarah agrees. She's like, "Yep, it
Yeah.
seems so fast."
my first criticism of the show.
Which is fine. Which is fine. We're being nitpicky. We've had so much
Yeah,
nice things to
exactly.
I
say.
mean,
Oh,
yeah, it's only because we love it so much that we need more of it.
Mhm.
I know. I can't believe it's just 5 episodes, and I'm like, or I'm like, we're only gonna get one more, and that's it. I'm like, you're
I know.
killing me, Marvel, Disney.
I know. I mean,
Um,
after all, like, there's been a couple of disappointing Disney Plus series, and then I'm just like, they gave us this, and that's it. That's it.
I know.
If I don't get like a Loki season 2, Miss Marvel season 2 like drop, like I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be so sad.
We'll have a Loki season 2 for sure. They're shooting it right now.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but like they announced it and they're like, it'll be back, and I was like, okay, I need that same energy.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
I
we
agree.
don't know yet.
Nice. Oh, and then
Yes.
for me, if
Go
I
ahead,
had
go
to
ahead.
sum up this episode in one word, I would have to just say emotional. I think that would be the
Yeah.
word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
emotional and generational.
Yes, I think that's why it was so emotional, and just there's a lot of heavy topics in there too.
Absolutely. So let's dive into it. So we begin the episode with a newsreel. An old school newsreel of 1947 India, and it's basically the day of partition, so it's August 15th 1947, and it's just talking about how they're leaving, like the India is free now, and but there's a lot of chaos, I guess. Let's see where else. And they have a newly appointed PM. It's their first prime minister. They've had almost 200 years of oppressive British rule until that day. The PM created what they call the Dominion of Pakistan for Muslims, and I guess technically it wasn't even a country at the time, right? It didn't officially become a country until later. And then India was going to be a secular state with a Hindu majority. There was a mass migration of like millions of people to Pakistan. There were consequences of century-long British strategy to divide and rule. That's why there's all this chaos that with the Hindus and the Sikhs and the Muslims. And then there was riots and violent outbreaks everywhere across the country. People fleeing for their lives. They called them the bloody trains that were leaving the train stations because basically people's homes were being torched all across the country. And I guess it's all started like back in 1942. But before we get there, what did you guys think of like this education's information about partition?
I think it was really important to have that, just not only to just set the tone of the whole episode, but to also just give like an actual like education of things that have actually happened in history and what people have actually gone through. I think that just like made more of an impact on the rest of the episode. And it's just always to be like well-rounded in our history and different people cultures history.
Yeah, I agree with Candace in the fact like it really sets the tone for the rest of the episode. And I think what really lends to kind of like the buildup of what we see once we kind of actually like start the like we dive back into Miss Marvel's world, or where she like has traveled back in time with the actual real footage. With that, I think it lends an emotional layer. And like you can watch a movie about like that time period and you can understand intellectually like maybe that's like what it looked like, that's maybe how it felt, but it's still is fictionalized, right?
Mhm.
So to see real footage, it lends itself to, I think, really drilling in like this happened to real people, and this like impacts real families to this day, and it shapes the world that we currently live in. And there's no like denying that, sidestepping that, like this like is actual or like is real history. And so like though Miss Marvel is fiction, it is so grounded and rooted in a reality that so many people experience. And I think that really gives so much emotion to when we get back to like the scene where she's at the trains, because you know, like you've seen through that kind of education, like what built to that, what built up to that. So I thought that was genius, and I was really surprised Disney went there, to be quite honest. I felt like that was really new for them, and I'm really impressed.
I totally agree, and I also agree with Sarah. I didn't know any of this at all. I'm not a history buff. I don't know what
I
happened.
guarantee 99% of the U.S. does not know,
You know,
unless you're from Pakistan or India.
yep. So to get that information and to know how much it impacted the lives of these people, like it now I better understand how they've all kind of acted towards, like, I guess the great grandmother, and how they
Mhm.
kind of feel towards like everything that kind of happened during the partition and all the experiences that happened. So it was kind of eye opening for me, and I am very happy that Disney decided to do that. Again, to Haley's point, to make it more grounded, because it's not just superheroes that we're talking about. We're also talking about real people that have all of these histories. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's your applaud for Disney is well deserved, because acknowledgement is probably the most biggest key for people, I think, to have that history acknowledged, to have that explained, and now you see where that leads to today's world, right? So I think it's very important that we know these things, because I mean, we talk about things across the world, but we really honestly know nothing about the history of it. So it's really sad, and we sit from from our couches, making these biased decisions or opinions. But yeah, getting off my soapbox. um, so we run into Sana's father, right? He is he's an outspoken man. He is talking about and this is in 1942. There's talking about like freeing India, getting rid of the British oppressors, and he's just trying to get the crowd riled up. But as soon as he's getting them riled up, you see in the distance, Aisha is watching him. So before we get to Aisha getting to that point, though, we see her running from a British soldier, and she kills him. So and she's wearing the bangle.
Mhm.
So at this point, we can assume that this is after the Ten Rings Temple, where they found the bangle, and they got separated with the rest of the clandestines. And then was her escape. She meets Sana's father, or soon to be husband, um, and the British officers are coming through, and they're breaking up this speech, and breaking up the people. And then we find Aisha sleeping on the ground of a field, just under a tree. and she's getting poked by a cane, and it is Sana's father. I don't want to give away his name yet because it's important when he gives his name. Um, and she grabs the cane and she warns him, "Hey, don't touch me! I'll break your leg." And as you know, he has a cane, so he's limping. He's like, "Huh, this leg? I don't use it much." And you could tell like they have this good banter going on, and they are two very good looking people. So like, oh my goodness, like I was like, wow, they did not, short them on looks. And it's just like a nice meeting of Aisha and this man, and he invites her in. He says, you're welcome to eat and stay here in my cottage. And eventually she does, and she's standing by the door, and he's already made some food for her, and he goes, okay, now I know you're just messing with me because no one can resist this smell of fresh fried, like was it paraca or paratha? I can't remember what it was, but it was a type of food. Oh, it was paratha. I got it right. And so she sits down and they just have a conversation, and they're just she finally speaks after he tells her that seeing her reminded him of a poem. And I kind of want to see the poem was, when a soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. What you seek is seeking you. And before he gets to finish the poem, she cuts him off and says her name, Aisha. And just like any banter that you would expect, he's like, oh, well, she talks. And he goes, well, that's a beautiful name. It means she who survives or who lives. And he mentions his name, Hassan. So now we have Hassan and Aisha. So as we go along this little journey, he's in the field and she's handing him a new cane. And she said, wouldn't it be nice to use a cane that actually works? And then we pan down. And before that, he goes, well, it's kind of ironic that the first time I met you, you wanted to break my leg, and now you're helping me. And we pan down and she's pregnant. So obviously some time has passed. And so, okay, let's get to this point. What do you guys think of Hassan and Aisha finding this new world after she's run away from these British soldiers?
Yeah, right.
Sarah's
I mean, that could have gone really wrong in any other world if it worked out for them. Yeah, again, like, since this show's just surrounded by around like family and everything, it's good to see where it all started, and seeing like an actually like loving relationship, and seeing this banter, and kind of just how even you can see in this short span of time how they both changed and evolved like together already. But I mean, I didn't have like just a lot of thoughts about it, but it was just I did like that part a lot, and just seeing the history of them for sure.
For me, I mean, I'm always here for like good romance. Like, you put that into a plot, like I'm 100% showing up, like very excited about it. Something that really so my best friend, or one of my best friends, is named Aisha, and she's Muslim, and so like there was like certain aspects of it that like actually like made me really think of her, in the sense that like the poetry that he was saying, like that's like she communicates to me a lot about like her spirituality and like her faith, and like there's like these really beautiful sentiments in like the Islamic faith, where there's a lot of poetry, like that felt like very direct to like their faith and their spirituality
in their culture,
and within the culture. And then even the like him speaking to what her name meant. Like, I know in like a lot of ethnic cultures, like names mean a lot, and so even with that, that's something that I've discussed like with her, and I just think those are beautiful things to highlight within the culture, and or within this like that their faith, because like that ends up coming up as to why they're being like persecuted or like pushed out of India. And so I just love those aspects that I feel like like I'm only seeing that because of the relationship I have with someone who is of that faith, and like I wonder what it's like for people who like are like Pakistani or Indian or like Muslim to like, do they identify that with that? I just think that's like those are really beautiful moments, and like to see like love and care throughout that. And so I love those tender moments, and I was excited, and just to see like, I'm excited that we got to see Aisha, like really see her background and her story throughout this episode, and that it was more centralized around her and Hassan and like how they get to the train, because we've heard it from her grandmother, but she was a child, so she doesn't really remember. She knows that like stars guided her to her father, but that's what we get. It's just such a mystery. Now we're solving the mystery with the show, right? So like that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I remember like in previous episodes, like Aisha always had this like bad connotation to it. Like you kind of knew that there was like she could have like, oh, how could she just leave her daughter, alone? Like why did she do that? Oh, she was into like all of these like bad things and stuff like that. That it was such a relief to see that she wasn't like that. That she was very loving and caring, to her daughter, was caring to Hassan. And I mean, it was a relief to kind of see that versus, like somebody that was just very guarded and very like I don't want to use evil, but just kind of like a bad, because all the time they talked about it, it was just like she was just a bad person. So I'm glad they kind of peeled the onion and said that she wasn't. She was just, a mother that loved her family so much that she wanted to sacrifice herself. So this was great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was very important that they show like her falling in love and how everything is born out of that, and that everything she does and like that she sacrifices. Same thing with the husband. It's a very important message to show, because we always show heroes who have lost their parents. Like we never get to see that backstory of their family, right? So I think that was great. What's going on, JD? And but let's move forward, and we finally get Sana. So Sana is born, and she's singing. Aisha is singing to Sana, and Sana is holding the bangle. And let's see. And Hassan mentions that she looks at you like you're magic, and I don't blame her. Like they have these one-liners that are just so awesome. And just it shows to like that loving that they have of each other, that fondness. And Hassan is listening to a radio, and it's basically talking about all the chaos that's going around India. And it doesn't seem like he wants to leave India. It feels like he has this mindset of staying. But he's hearing, like these things, and so is Aisha. She's hearing it in the background as well. So you got to keep that in mind. And then in the evening, a friend drops by to drop off milk and some produce, some products or items. And the reason why is because they are Muslim and no one will sell to them. Kind of like the same thing with the Jewish community in Germany. Like it's amazing that you hear about World War II, but you don't hear about how these people are treated here. It's exactly the same identical thing. People won't buy from them. They won't buy his flowers. He's really upset. And obviously the person that brings this is not Muslim. He's I believe he's Hindu. And so like they have this little argument about like, well, no one understands. You don't have to go through it. No one's pushing you out of your house, and it's easy for you to say. And it's just so difficult being a Muslim at that time in India. and it just, showing that, and even though the guy reminds him, you're crazy, you're the one who said that we're one people, and you could just feel that frustration of how he turned from having those feelings until now he's so frustrated. And as he leaves, before Aisha closes the door, she sees a figure out in the field, and it's a woman. And I guess we can only guess it's probably someone who's been searching for her. And the clandestine has found her. She's scared. She closes the door, but Hassan sees it. And she goes outside to meet Namja, and they have this conversation. Like, where have you been? And you think there's gonna be this tension, but Namja hugs her, and like, now we found you. Do you have the bangle? She's like, no, I don't have the bangle. I hid it. So I have to go get it. He goes, well, then you have until sundown tomorrow, and then we're all going home. If you look at Aisha's face, she's very hesitant. This is not her plan anymore. She does not want to help her. And I think in a way, she probably understands what's going to happen if they try to go back. So I think she knows that there's a consequence. And so as soon as she goes back, she's like, nope, we're packing, we're out. We're going to Pakistan. She's packing up, and Hassan's like, I don't know about this. And she's like, you have to promise that Sana is going to get on this train, that we're going to get on this train and we're going to get away from here. So what do you guys think of meeting baby Sana, their relationship, and how Namja has now uprooted everything by showing up?
Yeah, so yeah, I'll start. Yeah, so first, just seeing her as a little girl was just, first of all, just adorable. And just like seeing the banglet like right off the bat, and just like going, oh, there it is. But yeah, just like the whole thing with Namja, like, yeah, I mean, I even for a second, like when they met up again, I forgot that was the whole thing that had happened at the beginning of the show, of that whole thing that had happened between them. And yeah, you would have thought then that like that was kind of the last time they might have saw each other, or that they would have like you were saying, have like conflicts and things. So it was kind of like surprising, but then it's like, as of how we know how Namja is in the future, is that she still has like her own hidden agenda though, but she's not like showing that yet, or at least maybe I don't know if it's just like because like she doesn't know that Aisha's not gonna come with them. I don't know, or that was like the genuine thing, but yeah. So then from there, it's like kind of interesting where Aisha just like at this point now, it's like she's found where she wants to be, which was just her family, which is not what her plan was at all, meeting Sana's father and everything. And then now, like, not only is she like, she doesn't want to go back home to where she was from originally, but now she has to get out of was India altogether to so it's like she's totally uprooting from two different lives and going on a new one to go have a better life with her family. So that was just like really, really interesting to see. And then just seeing how even just the other like side characters and how they were affected by everything that was going on.
Yeah, I thought what was really interesting is this theme of like protection of family, and because we're seeing Kamala like try to protect her family throughout the show, and whether it's like from the wedding scene or in other moments. And so with this scene, I mean, I don't trust Namja. Like, she hugged her and I was like, that's fake. Like, I don't believe that at all. Like, and also Aisha's face, you can tell that she's like super nervous. Like, she knows that Namja is like not to be trusted. Like, that's what that, like, you can sense the tension, and she's lying because she knows like where this is going. I also thought like how like playing that into the like last train that's going out during the partition, like right, that they weren't planning on leaving, like they were going to stay. Like what would have happened had they stayed, given like the actual reality of the world and the country during that. And that's what she tries utilizing as like an excuse to Hassan, but he can tell like that's not really what it is. And so I do love that like he ends up like seeing the real her before like they end up kind of like splitting up and like understanding fully like the full magic of Aisha. But I feel like that the emotional stakes at that point, you see what they have to lose, you see what they're currently like suffering through, and like how much they mean to each other, because now you've seen like their love story, you've seen them have a family, and now you also see what her legacy is, right? Like her legacy is one where she is not seen as like someone to be respected. It's someone who's brought shame to the family, which is like super heartbreaking given the fact that she's trying to protect them. So yeah, that whole scene just raised the emotional stakes of the episode, I felt.
Yeah, I really can't add anything. You guys just covered it. Oh my God. Yeah. What these beautiful ladies have said. Yes. Absolutely yes.
I definitely
that fake hug.
I mean, from the beginning, I had a feeling that her Namja's story was not straight. It was not, it was from her point of view or what she was trying to tell. Also how the rumors of your past or your families, they go beyond like normal. They get ridiculous sometimes. And they're like, these stories get passed down, and her great grandmother's this weird person or this murderer or this cheater or someone who's terrible, but nobody knows, and it's just gets passed down as that. And it's just funny how it parallels Kamala's mother. I can't remember. Muniba.
Yes,
I think it's Muniba.
Yeah.
Because she also found her family when she got to America. Remember, she left and she said it was such a difficult time, but until she found her family. And it's the same thing with Aisha, where she had this difficult time being away from home, and now she found a family. Now she doesn't want it. Now she's getting torn away from it. So I think that parallel was important to show. But let's move on. We see them amongst hundreds, maybe thousands of people walking down these fields and just trying to get to the train station. And obviously Aisha is walking really fast with Sana, but Hassan can't keep up. He's limping and he's getting frustrated. And finally he's had enough. And he's like, what are we really running from? And he sits down, he has a conversation with Aisha, and Aisha basically tells him, you know how you always said I'm magic? And she shows him the bangle, and the bangle glows and expands. And he's like, well, why are you showing me this now? He's like, well, you were right. I was running from something from the beginning, but you never pushed and you never asked. And he goes, well, I didn't care because you chose us. And she's telling him, I choose you guys still, and that's why we're here. Basically she's a hero. She's trying to save her family. She's trying to save her husband and her daughter, and from the clandestines and maybe from anything terrible that can happen from the bangle. And so she's trying to protect them at all costs. And as they're walking through the train station, she realized, you can tell that she can feel Namja. She just kind of has that unshaking feeling. I'm sure it's because they have Noor inside of them, so they can probably feel the Noor from another person. And she hands Sana over to Hassan and says, you got to promise to get her on the train and get out of here no matter what, because she's gonna go talk to Namja basically. she's gonna go confront her or stop her. And so she turns around and they get separated. And this is that part of that legend that was talked about where, oh, I got separated from my mother, and then I got separated from my father, right? So this is all that part, and it's even worse than you think. And as she goes down the train station, she runs into Namja, and Namja tells her, "You betrayed us. You betrayed your family." And she just stabs her. She didn't even give her a chance to answer. She just stabs her. Doesn't even kill her fully. Just stabs her right in the stomach. And Namja's last words to her were, "It won't work." So obviously Aisha has that knowing of something's gonna happen bad if they try to go back to the Noor and the Noor dimension. So that's why she probably kept it away, and she stayed away. And as she's dying, Namja's like, "I will do whatever I can to find that bangle and do whatever I need to do." She walks off looking for the bangle. It's really sad because Aisha's just dying on, like, in the middle of all these people walking by. They're so concerned about getting away that they don't notice that there's someone dying right in front of them. And like you could just feel that craziness of how that could be. And she kind of falls over on a cart, and she's looking at a photo that she had grabbed before they left. Then we cut over to Hassan, and Hassan just turns away for 1 second, and Sana is gone. So he's looking for Sana. So this is that part where Sana is crying for her Ami and Abu, and it's just a terrible little scene, and no one's paying attention. I cannot believe this. Like, seriously, there's a little girl crying in the middle of a train station, in the middle of everybody walking around, and no one's noticing this. But then we get Aisha kind of, I guess her eyes glow with Noor. And as she is almost dying, she says the poem, and as she says the poem, I guess there's this flash, and Kamala shows up. So before we get to the good part, what did you guys think of seeing the scene of the train station and all of that, and Namja showing up, obviously, and just the whole connection to the whole legend?
Man, that was probably the heaviest like scene of the whole show so far. I know I definitely was feeling extremely emotional. I was like, oh my god, like especially like seeing like Sana crying like both of her parents, and then knowing that Aisha got stabbed, which I don't know. I mean, I don't even know why I didn't think that was gonna happen. I mean, I knew something happened to her, and I don't know, but I don't even know if like there was like a little part of me that maybe she was somewhere else and didn't like escape somewhere. But yeah, seeing that like really hit, and then seeing like yeah, like you said, it's crazy when there's like tragedies like that, and people are gonna ignore the little kid crying and the person that's unfortunately dying on the street right there, because they're just trying to focus on them and their family and get out and go to safety. So that hit for sure. And then this was the first time we see how the power transfer, I guess, works, like which we'll see later in the episode, used again or 2 times, I don't know how many times. So that was just really interesting to see. Like, well, also it kind of made me question about Sana then, because like, so you saw her mom's power go into her, and then you're like, okay, well, what happened? That she like, does she still have those abilities? Like, have we never seen that she had like any powers or anything? So then it's kind of making you wonder why. But then it's just realizing that it's the whole family has that, which I think we'll go into more in the later of the episode. But just seeing of how everybody has that ability, but it's really the banglet that activates it. But then Sana was wearing the banglet, so then I would think like that makes me question again, like if she ever had any powers or anything like that, because we haven't seen that for sure. But yeah, it was just a really heavy scene. And then once like Kamala shows up, it's again, it comes full circle to the beginning of the episode, and then like, well, we're gonna probably go into just like what craziness goes on, what she realizes, you know, how Sana got onto that train. So I don't know, we'll go into this, but oh my god, that was it was tugging at my heartstrings. I was like, oh my god, yeah. So
Haley, were tugging at your heartstrings as well?
Oh my gosh, I was a little. I think is that like a sloth crying from Skynet 78,
Oh
like
my
in the
God.
comments.
Is it
like
a baby
that.
sloth?
Is it a baby sloth crying? That's what it kind of looks like in the
God.
comments.
Oh god.
If we can highlight that,
yeah,
because that was me. No, the one above that, me.
yeah.
That was me. I was that. I was like tearing up. Like I felt like that was just really emotional because again, I think the pairing of the actual footage of people, like the mass exodus of people and knowing and them like talking about like these like bloody trains and like them having that connotation. Like you, Jeff, like you had mentioned, like there's a small child crying and people not noticing. I feel like it's not that people are maybe not noticing, but like they can't afford to even to care about
stop.
anyone else
Yeah,
about
stop for a
themselves
second.
because it's like such a life. It is a life or death situation. Like there's just no guarantee. Like you get on that train, you get out, or you're killed, and like that's horrendous. Like to be in that kind of situation. I think what that scene is like so devastating is like there's like this attempt to escape. Like you know that there are multiple things happening in reality that are kind of like persecuting them. And then you have Namja who then kills Aisha. And that's just like, it's so heartbreaking. Like they are so close to an escape. And like, and she is not able to join them for that. And like, yeah, I just was like, got very emotional during that. Because right, for me, it's like just knowing that happened to real people. Like it's not just like these characters that we're knowing that this happened to. And even then it's like, right, it's a Disney Plus show. So like it is like done in a way where you know that this is like people are, this is happening, but it's so much more brutal in the reality of it. Right. And that's heartbreaking. So I got emotional. I felt like that was really well done though. Like I felt it felt claustrophobic. It felt like, will they make it? Will they not make it? There was like high stakes, high tension. I felt like visually they did such a good job of showing like there were so many people and like not everyone was going to get out and not everyone did. And so, yeah, I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah. And you guys have touched so much on that one. What I want to touch on is like, because I have a son and he runs all over the place, and to have that like, where the heck is he expression on his face and the panic. I mean, I could relate, and I was like, oh my god, in that crowd in that moment, it's like your mind is going through so many things. It's like, this is all my fault. What could I have done better? Where is he, or where is she? Is she going to be okay? Like, where was the last place? And you're just like, all of these thoughts just come rushing into your head. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel for him, because it's like, she just disappeared. And that panic, that just like revelation of like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening. I was just like, oh my God, I feel for, I had goosebumps. Like I have goosebumps going on right now just thinking about it, because it's like it's as a parent, it's like that's your biggest fear of losing your child. You know, that they were just right there. You know, and for as a kid, it's just like, oh, like, you know, I mean, there's tons of stories, and I've done it. It's like, oh, I got lost in the mall, right, or the department store. But to be a parent and to have that, it's just like, oh my, it's just a panic. And I just felt like really connected with that scene, because it's like it's happened one time where I felt like I lost them, and I was just turning around going, oh my God, where is he? You know, what did I do? He was just right next to me. What happened? It's just nuts. So for me, that was really an emotional scene. You know, besides you know, seeing Aisha get killed, you know, and just lost everything in that one instant. I mean, it's just it was rough. It was rough.
Well, Yeah, I mean, I don't have a kid, but I can understand. I have a dog, and I
It's
lost
the
him.
same. It's like, where'd they go?
I panicked. Um, but so she is. Aisha's dying. She's on a cart. She says the poem. Basically, she says the words. What you seek is seeking you. And then all of a sudden, the bangle glows, and it looks like it. It kind of that's the moment it gets engraved with those words. And it looks like she used her last of her own powers inside of her, which was probably why her eyes were glowing. Um, and then um, and then she grabs the picture, and she's just hoping that like I guess her whole thought process was having Sana come back to her with the bangle. And instead Kamala shows up, and Kamala is sees her great grandmother dying on the cart. um and um she's trying to explain what's going on. And um she basically tells her, I'm not Sana. um and she says a couple of words that I believe leads her. She says Nani, so that I think that's her grandmother. And so that's like it gives her the it makes Aisha realize that this is actually her great granddaughter at that moment. And she goes, well, the only thing important is getting Sana on the train, and getting the Bengal safe. And so and she goes, this is why you're here. This is why this is what you've been seeking this whole time. It's now you've now here at that moment. And this is the moment that Kamala watches Aisha die. She's handed the photo, and she goes searching for Sana. As she's looking for Sana, she eventually finds her. Even though Hassan's looking, still yelling and screaming for her. And she grabs her, starts walking toward the trains, and it's getting too crowded. It's getting too much. So she's going to use her powers. And she's like, do you want to play a game? I can't make stars, but I can make a circle. And so she makes her little her light platforms, and Sana's just jumping from platform to platform until Kamala is knocked over by a passerby. And she loses her concentration. And this is the moment that I think people are going to question, but this was a great moment as well. The last step that Kamala made breaks up as Sana jumps off of it. And it breaks up into these little pieces, glowing pieces, and they just start floating. And remember, right before that, she's like, go to your father, find your Abu, And I feel that that whole breaking up of the light was actually Kamala controlling it and minding it, willing it to find her great grandfather. And Sana is just following the stars that led her to her father, finishing and completing the story and the legend. And it was all true. And at that moment, when Hassan grabs her and sees the light, and he's reminded of Aisha, and he knows that something bad has happened. And grabs Sana, jumps on the train, looks out one last time, and then you have Kamala standing there going, it was me. It was me the whole time. So sorry. I think that got me. Yeah, because that's like a powerful moment, because we all thought that maybe that she would go back in time, but we didn't know that she was actually there in the moment, and then we wouldn't know that she would actually be a part of the legend. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's also a a paradox. And so I'll explain that later, because that has a lot to do with a lot of other things. But it's just funny how all the stories that she's been hearing, that she's been told, that her mother was told, it was actually her. So like that is the coolest thing, and that she realized that she was supposed to be there in that moment. If she wasn't, then she wouldn't be there at all. So yeah. And I don't know what else. I think that's that. I think as far as we got. Then they go back. That's right.
Yeah.
Kamala finishes her destiny at that moment, fulfills her prophecy, and is transferred back into the present day. She is now where Namja had just stabbed the Bengal, and I guess in the moment that she was flying, she actually traveled in time, and then as she landed, she came back, and she realizes that there's the veil in front of her because Namja is looking at it, and she has opened the veil, and this is like world-ending crisis going on right in front of us. One of the clandestines tries to go in, and gets turned into rock. All the rock falls off. You see the skeleton, and it just falls apart. So we're like, oh, that's no good. Everyone's in trouble. And she yells the red dagger to get everybody out. They get everybody out. And she's begging Namja to help her close it because it'll destroy everything. And as Namja's walking toward the veil, she's basically screaming at her like, you have Kamran. And she's like, well, I left him behind. And Kamala is pleading with her. I mean, this is acting. It was great. I really love her acting. She's just pleading with her. Well, go save him. Go back and get him. And she has this look like of disappointment or sadness, and Kamala basically tells her, look, Aisha only wanted to have a family. That's all she wanted. And you took that away from her. Don't take that away from Kamran. And that's the moment that Namja turns. She realizes that she has taken away Aisha's family, knowing she didn't know she had a family, but now that she knows that that's what the reason why she wanted to stay, and that she's done her son wrong. And she goes, okay, well, you're right, but the only way to help close this is one way, and she sacrifices herself. She walks up to the veil, same thing, turns into rock. As before she turns into rock, though, she says Kamran's name, and right as she dies, a mist of energy goes flowing through the city, and it finds Kamran in the alley. And Kamran has powers now. Do you guys want to keep going all the way, or you guys want to talk about this first?
I feel like there's a lot we could.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to go through.
Okay. So what did you guys think? Kamala fulfilling her prophecy, fulfilling the legend. She's actually the hero. It wasn't her Aisha. It wasn't Sana. She was the one in this term, the golden child. And what about her coming back and seeing the veil and trying to convince Namja?
Oh man. Yeah, so I think that was just one of the, even though like a lot of that scene was so sad, it was just still like a very like powerful scene to see, and having that realization, not only as an audience, but then Kamala having that realization that how she's actually the reason that her grandma was able to escape, and that she actually like, because I think when she arrived there in the previous episode, or I think that we're kind of like, okay, is this like, did she actually travel in time? Is she just like watching this? Is it like a vision? Like, what is it? So it was kind of then like we finally realized like not only was San able to, or wait, I'm messing up. Aisha was able to actually call her back from from basically I don't know, Bengal to Bengal here, I guess, that connection. But then, yeah, she realizes what an impact she had, which is just, yeah, that was just wild to see. And yeah, so then, what was that? Then, yeah, so then once she gets back from there, yeah, it was just really interesting since we just had seen, like, we've seen this, like, character evolution with Namja. Like, first, you know, we see her in the beginning and we don't really know what to think of her, and then she blindsides Kamala, and then we don't like her anymore, and then, like, abandons Kamran, and then, like, it's just, we keep seeing these two sides of her, and then finally, yeah, she has this realization and actually sacrifices herself, not only to just, you know, close it, but to actually, like, I mean, I guess save her son too, in a way. But that, I think, also having that context, yeah, from the previous scene of seeing how the power transfers worked, you really get an idea of how, like, that's something that they're able to do, and then it makes you realize, okay, so Kamran must have had these abilities the whole time. It's just that he had to be basically activated within him, like with Kamala. So now it's kind of just like wondering what that's gonna mean. I hope it's more of a good thing. I don't know. I'm still, like, waiting for something, like, bad to happen with him, but I'm hoping that's not the case. And that he'll, like, be able to work with Kamala to actually take care of whatever is going on back home. So yeah, really, really good scene.
Yeah, so just kind of, like, walking it back, it was so powerful to see Kamala, like, fulfill her own prophecy, or fulfill this prophecy, but also, right, she's part of this mythology, like, mythology and legend of, like, that is ingrained in the family, and to then, like, be, like, the reason it has come to fruition is because, like, she has also time traveled. That's, like, incredibly powerful, and to, like, have, like, just, like, for that to, again, like, the power of family and, like, through the generations and like sacrifice, like I think Sarah was saying, and Candace, I think that's incredibly powerful. I'm also really interested in this kind of, like, reciting and the power of, like, language and like yeah, like, I feel like I'm not, like, the language around it. For me, I'm like, how do I articulate this? But when Aisha says, like, seek, like, what you are seeking will find you, and then even Namja's, like, reciting Kamran's name, there is, like, something in that I think is, like, really, like, beautiful, but I feel like it has also roots within, like, the spirituality and, like, the culture to this kind of, like, reciting, and then, like, it manifesting, and I think that is really fascinating to me, like, how that's showing up through the show. And I just feel like, in general, through the powers, through the legends, what we're seeing, where they've taken Miss Marvel's powers, is, like, really phenomenal. Like, I just feel like there's, like, so much depth and, like, beauty, like, the way they've done the shows is really great.
Yeah, oh my God, you guys are just amazing. Yeah, it's the same thing. The only thing that I'm kind of wondering, I'm kind of like with Candace about all of this, like, trying to figure out Kamala's powers. You know, I mean, what can and can't she do? And now that we've seen time travel, I'm like, can she do that? So it's all of this stuff is just, I guess we're figuring it out along with Kamala. But I'm like, how is this possible? How is this going to happen? Is it going to happen again? Can you control it? You know, and stuff like that. But yeah, with that being said, I need to go. So you guys have a great show, panel, and also people in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with, I guess, with me and us. And I will definitely catch you guys next time, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more time. But thank you guys. But talk about the time travel thing. What is going on with that?
Yeah. No, I love that idea.
All right. Have a good one, Alonzo.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I hope time travel is, like, that would be so cool. If they, like, set in, like, I'm here for it. Though I wonder
time
if
travel.
I wonder if, like, the reason the time travel happened is because of the split between the Veil and that kind of, like, surge of power. I don't feel like that was, like, Kamala's powers. I feel like that was, like, Kamala's powers mixed with the splitting of the veil and like that kind of like vacuum almost, like a break in time and reality. Like that's what that seemed.
I think I want to say, and this is just my own opinion, obviously, but her powers in the comic books is related to time. It actually is related to time. Her future, she's borrowing power from her future self, and so her powers have a lot to do with. Honestly, it actually is kind of connected to Kang in a way. And so maybe because they changed her power set or the way she has her powers, this was another connection to her comic book based powers where, okay, maybe she's not borrowing from, but now she can travel through using her powers or something. But yeah, I thought that was a good connection, or at least, and I don't think they necessarily need to explain it right away, because I don't want her to use it again right away. I think that's too powerful of a power to have, ability. And in our world, in the MCU, you mess with time, it turns a mess back, right? Is what Tony Stark said. So yeah, I definitely I love her powers. I love this whole scene that she was the one who actually saves her family to get them to where they are. Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's a paradox, but I think there's a reason for that paradox for existing, and I'll kind of try to explain it later. But let's try to get through the rest of it. So we got to the episode. So the whole part where Kamala is with Namja, and we have a cutscene where it goes to her mother is calling her. She can't get a hold of her. And this is so funny. This is like the funniest part. The grandmother, Sana, she goes, well, when I lost my, and she names her dog, and she goes, when I lost, it's microchips, so I microchipped them, and I found them. And she goes, Mom, that's a dog. This is Kamala. If I could, I would. So like, and it's funny because when you think about it, it's that misunderstanding of language and between different generations. So I really like that part about that. And then the cousin explains, well, isn't she on the family plan? Can't you just find my phone? And she goes, wait, there is a tracking on here, like phone spy. Oh, no one told me about this. So like it's I love the humor, and obviously they track her phone, and as Namja, I guess, sacrifices herself, and as the energy is flowing by, Kamala is protecting herself with a shield, a light shield, and that's when her mother and her grandmother walk in, and she's like, what is going on? What is that? And the grandmother tells her, I told you there's magic in our family. And the mother is surprised because she's like, wait, she's putting everything together, and she's going, are you the light girl? And Kamala says yes, fesses up, and her face was like surprised but kind of smiling at the same time. Like I felt that. And and the mother is saying, this is what I've been telling you all these years. The grandmother, I'm sorry. And then Kamala goes, oh yeah, I have something to give to you. And so she hands over to Sana the photograph that she grabbed from Aisha. And remember, the last time we saw any photographs that Sana had, it was only of her father and her when she was a baby. She had no other pictures, and she could only draw Aisha from her memories. So she had no pictures of her. So when she gets the photograph, she looks at it and she goes, and this is a choking up moment.
I know, I feel like
she is surprised, and she's like, Ami, Abu. and she can't believe that she has a picture of her mother. And then Kamala's mother is like, looks over and she's like, how is this even possible? How did you do the light? How's this photo here? Like, how is this even possible? So um and the grandmother just says, and this is beautiful. I like to think that two people fell in love to create something greater than they could have created alone.
Mhm.
And that was beautiful. Like the perfect ending to a love story. Just that statement, and
Mhm.
showing that love, all that love came back to help them, the family, in the long run, right? All that love created Kamala, and then she saved her family. So then I don't know. I think you guys want to talk about this first before we move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you all think?
Oh man. Let me get my thoughts here on that one. Just that one again was just a really, really good scene. I was surprised that her mom was actually going to find out. I don't know. I just wasn't really expecting that was going to happen. And the actual reaction that her mom had, just because like of just how their relationship has been throughout the whole show, and just like she her mom didn't believe her grandma and about everything, and I really just thought she was going to have more of like a negative reaction to everything, but it just made me like really happy to see that she was just really understanding what it all made sense now of everything that happened with her mom. And then now she even knows like what we see with Kamal, like where she thinks, oh, she's she's doing like she's disappointed in her for all the things that she's doing, because she's going out late and not and coming home, like sneaking out and all these things, and she's has these bad ideas about her, when really now she realizes, oh my god, like it's actually her, and she's out there doing like good things. And yeah, like she just has this realization that their family is magical, and like what it all means. And I think, yeah, that was probably definitely one of my top moments, I think, of the show, just because of everything that had happened in the previous episodes. So I think, yeah, that was just really strong to kind of have that I don't know, closure is the right word, but just like between kind of all of them, like the all generational, with yeah, like with her grandma and her mom, because they had kind of a lot of that conflict, and then Kamala and her mom, and it, like just by that all happening, just how much everything changed and everything. But then it also made me wonder again about her mom. Again, it's like, okay, so this whole family has abilities. Does that mean like if her mom were to put on the bangle or something, she would have abilities? I don't know. But yeah, I think it was a really good scene.
Yeah, I loved seeing the just like her mom accepting her, and like her being able to feel like fully accepted and seen by her mom. I love the part where she picks up the necklace and it gets Kamala's name in Arabic, and like that's where you get kind of the
S/lightning.
Yeah.
the S/lightning.
Awesome.
Like I felt like that was like really beautifully done, because like right, it's also coming from like a piece of the Arabic that's like for her name, like that is really beautiful. Cool. But I just like loved like there was these themes of like family and love and like togetherness throughout. So it made me happy. It made me happy for her.
Yeah, and especially like with how heavy the episode was, like between the whole like just the scene with the phone and stuff, which was just kind of like a funny moment to have, because we, like we've been saying, we've been like emotional through the whole thing here, and it was just kind of nice to have something light for a little bit, and then just see a really loving and tender moment. Like it just made it all better.
Yeah, no, definitely touching moments. Definitely they reached a resolution. I think that's what you were looking for, Candace, is the family reached a resolution amongst all their angst between each other, and it's because now they have an understanding, and that what someone thought wasn't true is actually true. And you know uh and I think going to that moment where she kind of smirked when she said the light girl is you, and she answered yes, like she was surprised, but she had a little smile.
Mhm.
I think that was a little bit of, like you said, kind of like relief that she, all those times that she worried about her, she was actually being light girl. Oh God, such a bad name. But yeah, and then as you mentioned, Haley, the mother finds the necklace, the broken necklace. I really love that it's her name, but it's also her name. You know, like
Mhm.
and I like that meta. And then I also believe she got another piece of her costume here.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
she says bye to Red Dagger, and Red Dagger hands over her scarf, and it's a red scarf. I don't know. I think she wears a red scarf over her. I'm just saying. So now we have 3 pieces of her costume. She is now more fully fledged as a superhero or a hero. She has more control of her powers probably now, because the way she acted when she tried to close the veil, like she didn't hesitate and she was doing everything she possibly can. She'd save the people. So like I feel like everything's coming together for this finale.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But before we get to that finale, there's still some more of this episode to go. So I do want to talk about a couple of things, but we'll come back to them at the end. Let's see. I think. Oh, so we get sent to an alley, Circle Q,
Mhm.
in the back, and Bruno is throwing out the trash, and he throws out the trash, and lo and behold, there's Cameron. Jumps out from behind the trash can and surprises the hell out of Brian. Um, and he's basically telling him, you know, I need somewhere to stay. You know, I've got nowhere to go. And Bruno reluctantly agrees to let him come into his apartment above the Circle Q. And you can tell there's this tension between the two.
Mhm.
Obviously, they know they each like Kamala, probably.
Mhm.
And so there's this little macho thing going on, and then Cameron tries to relate to Bruno a little. He's looking at his posters in his room. He's like, "Oh, argon. Um, that's one of my favorite elements." Okay. And the thing is the whole thing of the poster was, it's like it was just a joke. It was
Mhm.
just a joke. Everything argon. And then he sees a picture of Tesla,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh, you like electric cars?" He's like, "Oh, it's no wonder we never got along." And and Cameron realizes that he's trying too hard. It's not working, and he's like, "You know what? This is too awkward. Can we just start over?" And he introduces himself, and then Bruno finally gets to say who his name is. He goes, "And I'm Bruno." And he's like, "Oh, that's really your name? I honestly thought it was Brian this whole time." He's like, "That's okay. I didn't notice the first 4 times."
Oh my god, that was great.
And I love this going on, the banter, the comedy, and what happens next?
A very abrupt
The
cliffhanger.
Oh yes, yeah. So as they're talking, trying to figure out how long he's gonna stay, he says, "Oh, you know, why would you wait for your mother? She abandoned you. She left you to fend on your own." And he basically explained, "Well, you wouldn't understand." And that's kind of like talking about how, you know, maybe some cultures, you know, have that familial connection, that really strong bond. And so he's trying to explain that to him. And um as Bruno is looking for something, I think he's looking for the phone, maybe. Cameron sees a what is it?
A
A
drone.
drone. Yeah. So he sees one of the drone, and it locates him. It recognizes him, and he blasts it. And they have to, and he's yelling at Bruno, "We got to get out of here!" As he blasts it, the drone accidentally falls down, is falling down, and it shoots a rocket right into the Circle Q, blowing up the Circle Q. And that's where we end. I think, one more thing before the blast happens, Bruno goes, "Wait, you have powers too?" And now we cut to the end credits. What do you all think of this whole ending with Cameron and Bruno and Kamala getting pieces of her outfit?
Yeah. Start with Bruno and Cameron. Like how you were saying, it's kind of funny where Cameron was trying to relate to him on all these things, like trying really hard, but then it ended up that once they actually were talking, like they realized they actually had like something deeper in common. So that was just cool. And then the whole Brian thing was pretty funny. Because that's just been the running joke the whole show. And then, as I was saying, like, I don't know. I just thought it was like once the explosion happened, it cut, and I was like, no, because it was so short. But I mean, they always leave with some kind of cliffhanger. It looks like. And then with Kamala's like costume being built, like I think every single episode, it's like she's been gaining like a piece of her costume little by little. I mean, in a way, it's almost like symbolic of just like having these pieces that she's been gaining, like
it's like a video game.
Yeah, but just like I don't know, just in her character evolution, and everything. I don't know. I kind of like to think it's a little bit more symbolic. But that was really cool. I don't know why originally I did miss like the scarf, and then I rewatched like a clip and I noticed. But just like even with the name, the necklace and everything, that was just really cool to see. And then going back to even with the banglet of understanding like why there's the inscription on there, it's like you kind of just learn that like see how her costume is being built, but then there's like a little bit more behind everything. Like, well, she got this piece from Red Dagger. She got this piece because of the battle she was in. Like it has more meaning than her just like creating a costume, or even like a lot of other we'll just use Spider-Man as an example of like where they're just building a costume. It's I don't know, it's like it's important to the character, but I feel like this is more of like there's a little bit more something extra of just even the costume itself. So I'm really excited to see her in it. They finally built up to that. And then just before I forget, I had a question. Okay, so I was watching a video about the episode and everything. I don't know if we went over this before, but do you guys know about the whole QR code thing?
Yeah, there are QR codes in the show. Yeah.
Is it always like I didn't know about this. I don't even know where this one was hidden because I didn't know when I was watching it, but is it's usually like an actual comic, right? That you can read and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. So that's just even like a cool thing, I guess, that they've been doing. I think they said Moon Knight even had that in some of their. How am I just finding this out now?
The last episode had the first appearance of Red Dagger. Yeah. I think it was number 12.
Yeah, but that's one of those like you blink and you miss it kind of thing. So it's just cool to I don't know, just a little extra fun thing, I think. But just a really good ending for sure. And again, just gonna lead into the next episode, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, same. I felt like it ended and I was like, wait, no, I want more. I'm just excited where they're going to take like Cameron with like his powers. I feel like there might be a season 2 just because they introduced it so late in the game. I love like all of the aspects of her outfit being really tied to like, right, how we build our identity. Our identity isn't just like something like we have in this like vacuum. It's like built because of the relationships that we have with people, the environment that we're surrounded in, like that shapes us, and like that's apparent in like her costumes and in like throughout the episodes. Like Miss Marvel isn't just like Miss Marvel in this vacuum. It's all of these people and all of these experiences. So I love that they've chosen to go this route. was such a big doubter at the beginning. And now I am a believer. So I love this episode. I felt like it hit a lot of really great points in terms of like the emotional aspects, the like history, learning, and then also like having those high notes that we can end on, and also cliffhangers. Like I feel like this show does a lot in each episode, but I feel like it does it well.
Absolutely. I feel like it like what you all were saying about the costume pieces, like I feel like it's very important that she got a piece from Bruno, a piece from Red Dagger, and the necklace is basically from her family. So like I love how everything is, it's just like I hate to bring sports into this, but Shaq is a huge superstar, was a huge superstar, Hall of Famer, right? And he said he could have never have done what he did without everybody else's help around him. And that's how it is for all people. We don't get to where we are without someone helping us along the way. And mostly those are friends and family. And the fact that she's going to carry on this costume that's going to be made from all her friends and family basically is just a reminder to her how what she is fighting for. And it just talks about her characteristics and her character and just, how precious that this superhero could mean to a lot of people. I did miss a part where there was a resolution between the mother, the grandmother, and the daughter, and they were having this little girl talk, and I really love that part too, that resolution, like you said, and just a better understanding of each other, of explaining like what they went through and what they felt, and so everyone can get an understanding of it, because you don't really understand a person until they actually tell you what they've been through. I think because most of us, looking at people, we only see things from the surface. So getting to know somebody that deeply is, I think, a bonding experience that would help this family so much. And I love the fact that her mother knows. I actually do like that. It is in the comics. Her mother knew. But I like this even more so because it's telling us that the family bond, that because now that they all know and that they have this understanding, that there's nothing holding her back. Right now, she could be all the superhero that she was meant to be, with like her family's blessing almost. And that I think is more powerful than I lost my father, I lost my mother, lost my family, there's nobody to care for, or I'm hiding everything from everyone, so I've got to fight this as well. So it's like, now she doesn't have to fight, she just has to fight the villains.
Love it.
I'm loving all of that. And then so now that we are done, I want to talk about a couple of items that came from the episode, if that's okay.
Of course.
Okay. So the whole veil. When the clandestines touch the veil, they turn into rocks, right? First. And it was purposely done that way. I don't know any other way to explain it, that they turn into rocks and then they died. In humans, they go through Terrigen Mist and they turn into rocks almost. So is that Terrigen Mist? Is it still connected to Inhumans? Is another way explaining Inhumans, or that's the way they're gonna try to explain Inhumans, as they're other dimensional? So I wonder if that's going to play a key. I also feel like the whole time thing, where the paradox of her. So I want to really explain this. This is gonna be really gonna mess up your minds. For the whole paradox of her fulfilling a destiny that she was supposed to fulfill the whole time. I believe that if He Who Remains did not die, Kamala doesn't exist. Because that time, that paradox wouldn't exist, because that's when the TVA would step in.
Oh.
So
Mhm.
that's where I'm thinking, because of what happens in Loki,
Mhm.
it creates some more superheroes. We're starting to find this out almost.
That's
that
really interesting. I love that idea.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. I
Mhm.
hope it's not just from my mind and my thoughts. I really hope that there's consequences both ways, right? There's consequences and then there's benefits of things happening certain ways. So
Mhm.
because He Who Remains is now no longer, guarding the timelines, these people can now exist that would have been cut off at some point. And Kamala just happens to be one of those people, I think. And I hope that's the case. I can't wait to see if that's the case. That might explain some of her powers, where the bangle comes from, the
Mhm.
reason for time traveling. So like, I hope that's the case. And I also, I think I don't want to go too much further. What do you all think of what's going to happen in the final episode? What are your predictions?
I mean, I did see the trailer, but
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I haven't.
I don't remember everything. It was kind of like just like a quick thing. I mean, it could be assumed anyway that we're gonna see her in her costume now that she has all the pieces. I mean,
Well,
you
we
have
did
to.
see her in the commercials and the trailers before, so we've never seen her in her full costume yet. So that has to be now.
Yeah. I think originally though I was it seems like I'm hoping it's gonna be for like more than a couple minutes in there, but originally I was like, oh, is that gonna be something that she puts it on at the end and it's like that? But I don't think so. Yeah, it's just pretty much just gonna.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go, please. I just have to
I
remember.
don't know. It's just I don't really have a lot of guesses other than, or just more of like just questions, and like I know it's gonna just be like a final battle because that's always how you end a superhero story. But like I think I'm really hoping that we can see more powers. Like, come on, like give us like a really good one, like of some pulling from the comics and other things. I think it's gonna be a really good of seeing everything that she's learned, everything that she's been through, and just seeing it all come through in the end. And I'm hoping we get a lot of answered questions and not too many unanswered ones. I mean, yeah, we don't know if we'll have a season 2 or not, but then I'm sure it'll lead into the other movies they're coming up. So I don't know. I just have a feeling it's gonna be like a really good ending because I don't know, like this is just every episode has been getting better. So
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it disappointed.
Please
Same. Like that would be so shocking. I feel like they've done such a good job.
Yeah.
In terms of like what to expect, I honestly have no idea. I feel like they really have changed like so much, but like then they haven't. So it'll be really interesting. I feel like we're gonna see Kamala telling Cameron that his like mom's passed.
Yeah.
And like that's and probably why he might have the powers. I feel like that's going to lead him to like rebel and be angsty and like angry. And I know that we'll see her in her costume. I'm really excited for that. I'm wondering if we're going to get like a Carol Danvers cameo or appearance. That would be super cool. Because it's just like we still don't know how she's going to get her name, especially with the way that they've done everything in the lead up of her like her powers and explaining that. It's like how are we getting her name? I think that'll be really interesting. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I've loved this show so much.
I mean, in the trailer, you need to watch the trailer, Haley.
Nope, I refuse. I don't want to see anything.
Well, I'm afraid to say anything. I mean, I don't know. The cameo that they show of somebody, I mean, it's not really for sure of what and what way.
I haven't watched anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say then. I usually don't even see the trailers, but I was looking at stuff on YouTube and I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, finally, I know.
I haven't even seen like trailers for Thor: God of like. Love
okay, that's probably for the best then, because I'm just like wondering too many different things. So we'll just see.
I'm thinking, you're right. Kamala is gonna tell Cameron about his mother. And unfortunately, I think Cameron's going to take it very, very badly, to the point where they're not going to be on good terms at the end of the show. I have a feeling Bruno is, after all of this chaos, is actually going to go to Caltech to get away from it. Uh, okay, so I really feel like they set us up right from the trailer. She goes, if you ever wanted something so much but didn't realize how difficult it was or whatever it was, this is where we're going to find out how difficult it is. She becomes the hero that she always wanted to be, but she loses everybody in the process. And so she's pissed off Nakia because she didn't tell her from the beginning. Bruno's going to leave. Carmen's going to be pissed off about the mother. And now she's being chased by the DODC. I think we're going to find out that the DODC has a connection to either the Skrulls or the Kree.
Yeah.
And that'll lead us into the Marvels and Secret Invasion. And
I'm so excited.
Yeah, that was my last thought. Okay. My prediction is Moniba will create her costume. I think her mother is going to make her costume because that points back to her making the Hulk costume.
Yeah. And her holding the necklace.
Yes, and her holding the necklace. So she was so excited that she made her the Hulk outfit that was like, very Pakistani influence. And I think she's going to make this one for her. And if she does, get ready for waterfalls.
Yeah. No, I think that's going to happen. And also, the Kamala's father and brother don't know about these powers. So, like, are they gonna tell them? Or are they not? I don't know.
We don't know, but I do know one thing.
Yeah.
The mother, the father, and the brother are in the Marvels.
Okay.
So we will get more continuation of the family after this show.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm assuming the friends are gonna show up in there too. But that's not guaranteed. So. But now that we're done, I would want to thank everyone for coming and showing up and watching. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Candace, so much. I can't wait till next week. I know you have to go real quick, Haley. So on that note, does anybody want to take us out? Okay, I'll
do the honors.
Wait, let me make sure I've got the exit out here before I
yeah, I was like, I feel like there's like a certain kind of exit we have to do.
All right. If you guys want to do it right, collect what you like or watch what you like. Ms. Marvel fans for life.
Yes.